Hi everyone, welcome to this new video. Today I'm going to present the lesson plan of the relative pronouns lesson, which is of course a grammar lesson included in the third sequence of the third year English program, Me and My Scientific World. Maybe this video is going to be somehow long compared to the previous videos because I want to explain the first part of the lesson plan, which should include a number of components which are very important and they have to be clear. So here, that's what I call the identity of the lesson plan, which contains actually the school. So here you have to mention the name of the school. Of course, this is flexible. Each teacher has the right to design his or her own lesson plan according to his or her taste, according to his or her view, but these components are important and should be actually present in all lesson plans. So as I said, here you have to mention the school and then the level and then the class, and of course there is a difference between level and class. Of course, this is obvious. So the level here is 3ms, and avoid to write am because this is French, and class 3m1, and of course you're going to mention all the classes you have when you deal with third year level. Then we mention the sequence. Here, the name of the sequence or the title of the sequence. Then lesson. Here in lesson, I have already told you that you have to mention, you don't have to mention the skill, because when your pupils are going to like revise, when they open their copybooks and they find like grammar, and they even don't like make the difference between grammar, read and speak, we do all agree about that. So we have to mention the title of the lesson, something very practical while they revise. And then we move to the framework. As I already said, the framework is like the steps of the lesson. Okay, so here we're going to follow PPU framework, or the 3PSU framework, which is applied to all the grammar lessons. Then of course I would say the most important part in the lesson plan is objective. You know, if you don't know what is your objective, you cannot perform a good effective lesson. It won't be effective undoubtedly. So here you have, by the end of the lesson, this is a common statement which should be present in all objectives. My pupils will be able to talk about famous inventors and inventions using the relative pronouns who and which. And of course here, something very important, our inspector always insists on it, is the verb that you use after be able to. The verb that you use after we be able to, it's like something very important. It should be like concrete. You don't say by the end of the lesson my pupils will be able to memorize, or will be able to know, or will be able to learn, because this is like receptive and it is not concrete. But if you say your pupils are going to write, your pupils are going to perform, your pupils are going to talk, your pupils are going to use, your pupils are going to compare, here you're making your pupils like get involved in the learning process, and by the end they should perform something based on their understanding of the lesson. So that's what we call output. So we're waiting something from our pupils by the end of this lesson. That's why our verb should be like very concrete and precise, and that's why you have to pay attention to the words you use in your lesson plan. Then we move to these components which are somehow ambiguous from. So here we have target competencies. It means this is, I should say that it's common. Okay, so interact, interpret, and produce. Of course, your pupils, before they get to the target item, they have to interact. When you interact with your pupils and they interact between themselves, they are interacting. They are like giving and receiving. And then interpreting, they are able to interpret. Here by interpretation we mean meaning. So they are given to understand. And then produce, are going to produce and perform an output. Then we have domains. Domains, oral, written, or both. There are some lessons in which we use only written skill. There are other lessons in which we use oral speaking or oral communication. And there are lessons where we use both skills. And then we have target structures. Here, target structures, we mean by this, what are we going to teach? What is the structure? Even if your lesson is a listening lesson, for example, by the end of the lesson, my pupils are going to talk about to talk about inventions and inventors. But what is the target structure? What are the verbs are you going to use? Is it past simple, present, future? Are you going to use relatives? Are you going to use maybe consequence, cause? Are you going to use discourse markers? So you have to concentrate on the language points you're going to use while presenting your lesson. So that's what we mean by the target structures. Then we move to materials. So here the materials that I'm going to use are flash drive, phone, CD, smart card, a chip, earphone, of course the whiteboard and handouts, and of course the course book. Here you're going to notice that we have a lot of materials actually because I'm going to use them in the warm-up phase, and of course you're free to use whatever you want. If you want to remove some materials or add your own materials, you're just free. And then we move to the cross-curricular competencies. Here I think devote a video to this part, which is important. Cross-curricular competencies, I think that I should devote a video to that because it's not really difficult, but it has to be well explained. And then we move to the core values. Here the core values, we mean what are the values that your pupils are going to be aware of and learn across the sequence. I mean, not only the lesson. For example, if you talk about, just an example, about 1MS, in the fourth, I think, sequence, you're going to talk about, or your pupils are going to talk about duties and rights. So here, what are the values? Your pupils are going to learn to be maybe polite. You're going to learn to be sociable. They're going to learn to be to stick to their principles and premises. They're going to be to respect others. For example, if we talk about inventors and we talk about Bourwis and Habba, who are Algerian scientists, so here they're going to be proud. So these what we mean. That's what we mean actually by core values. And of course, in the middle of the lesson plan, I always mention the aim of the sequence, which is very important. Of course, before you design any lesson plan or before you tackle any sequence, you have to scan it in order to know and to know what to reach, what you want your pupils to reach by the end of the sequence as a whole. So here we move directly to the first step of the lesson plan, which is warm up. And here I'm going to explain to you this activity or this game. So I'm going to put devices on the table. Of course, my devices are going to be related to the sequence. So I put devices on the table, as I told you, flash drive, a chip, CD, and so on, and pieces of papers containing the names of the devices on the desk. So a teacher is going to select, or you're going to select one representative of each group. For example, you design 3 or 4 groups. You're going to design 3 or 4 representatives, and then they choose pupils randomly to pass, okay, and they are going to pick out a piece of paper and the mimes, okay, so they're going to mime to their friends in order to know the device. For example, they take phone and they use their hands, they put them on their ears in order to make their classmates guess what is the name of the device. The representatives run to take the device and name it. So they take the device from the table and they name it. So you're going to score your pupils' answers, and you're going to give candies and reward the winners. And of course, the reward is up to you. So what is the aim of this phase? The aim is to relax the atmosphere. So here, as you may see, we have 7 columns. We have time. I should have mentioned this before I start. We have time, in which you give the time of each part and of each activity you give in class, or you do in class. We have the framework, which represents actually the steps of the lesson plan. We have the procedure. What are you going to do? Everything you do, you or your pupil, is going to be mentioned on your in this column. So focus here. Did I focus, for example, when you ask your pupils to play this game? Do you focus on yourself or you focus on your pupils? And pupils themselves, are they going to interact with you or with their classmates? So here, if they are going to interact with their classmates, that's what we call learner to learner. It means LL. If they interact with you, here we call this teacher learner. That's why we write TLLL. And then we have the aim. Of course, we have the aim of the sequence, the aim of the lesson, and we have the aim of each activity. So here in this column, we're going to mention the aim of each activity we do. And then we have materials. Here I am going to introduce all the materials I used in this phase. And VAKT, here I'm talking about the learning styles of my pupils. There are some pupils who are visual, there are some pupils who are auditive, and there are some pupils who are tactile, kinesthetic, and so on. And of course, here in this game, kinesthetic and tactile pupils are going to be happy dealing with this game. But actually, I received many questions asking about, for example, if your learner is auditive, how are we going to show him pictures? Or anyways, they have to learn to be visual too. They are auditive, but they have to learn to be visual. That's why they are in school. Visual pupils are going to learn to be auditive. We're going to try to integrate on them the things that they don't have. And this is very important. And then we move to the preparation. Of course, any grammar lesson plan should be introduced, of course, by a preparation phase in which we prepare our pupils for the target item. We do not just say, today we're going to talk about relative pronouns. Okay, just write the examples. No, it doesn't work like that. We have to introduce, you have to prepare your pupils, giving them texts, and here we are dealing with reading, giving them making them listen to a script, asking them questions. So we have many ways of preparing our pupils for the next phase, but you have to contextualize your target item. We're going to talk about how am I going to integrate these two items in my lesson, in a context. And of course, the context which is related to the sequence. So here I have chosen to provide them with a very small text about Alexander Graham Bell, and it contains, of course, the target item that I'm going to teach. What is the aim? Is to contextualize the target item, and of course, after giving them this piece of this text, I'm going to ask my pupils questions. Who is Graham Bell? Where is he from? And what did he invent? Of course, these are general questions to go to the point that I want. I'm going to try to narrow my my questions, and then I'm going to write on the board. Graham Bell is a famous scientist who invented the telephone. And of course, this sentence is organized, but it's going to be, of course, it's going to be relying on your pupils' answers. So you listen to your pupils and then you organize their ideas in a sentence and you highlight your target item. And then the telephone is a vital means of communication which is used by all people or most people. So here I'm going to talk about the telephone itself. I'm going to ask questions about it, and I'm going to, of course, ask them questions based on what they have read in order to be able to write a good sentence in which I introduce the relative pronoun which. Here it's LT, the focus. Why? Because I'm going to interact with my pupils. So it's TLLT. Then here, once I write the examples, I'm presenting the new item for my pupils. And then I'm going to make my pupils isolate, and I'm going to make them analyze, of course, through interaction, and then I state the rule. These are the very logical steps of grammar. So, when I ask them questions, I'm eliciting from my pupils. What is eliciting? It means taking from them words or sentences that may be used to state the rule. So here I ask, what does who refer to in the first sentence? And they have already known that who is for a person, especially for a WH question. And you have to explain that this is not a WH question. And then, what is the function of Graham Bell? Is it a subject, a verb, and so on? What is its class? and is it a person, a country, and so on. What does which refer to in the second sentence, and what is, if they say, for example, telephone, you're going to ask what is telephone. Is it an object, an animal, or whatever? So here they're going to distinguish between the two items, and you're going to make them analyze. And then you explain or you state the rule orally. I think this lesson does not really need to be it doesn't really require a rule to be written and so on, so you just have to state things orally. So who and which are called relative pronouns. We use them to combine sentences to avoid repetition. Who refers to a person or to people, and which refers to animals, objects, and things. Here I'm going to sum up the pupils' answers in a form of a rule, so they're going to feel that they're active. And then I move to practice. So preparation, I gave them text. Then presentation, I interacted with them, and then I presented the items on the board. I made them isolate and analyze. Then I stated the rule, and then I moved to practice. In practice, we have kinds of activities. The first activity should be form-based. What is form-based? It means it should be highlighting the structure, only the structure. So I reorder the following words to get correct sentences. Here we have two long sentences containing who and which. And then I move to the second activity, which is going to be a meaning-based task. What is meaning-based? It means they have to understand in order to match. They cannot match just like that. They have to understand. So here, I am going to match, okay, the left column to the right column. I move now to the third activity. Here, we're going to notice that we have activity 2 and then activity 4. In between, you can introduce the rule if you wish. Okay, I think it's not necessary, but if you wish, you're going to present it as an activity. You write activity 3, complete the rule. And then activity 4, as I said, it's a communicative based activity. They're going to communicate. How are they going to communicate? You're going to ask me, how are we going to present a dialogue, or what? If you say communicate, it means they're going to communicate. And most people, when they listen to the word communicate, when they hear communicate, they say that it's, of course, a dialogue or interaction. No, here they're going to communicate. It means they're going to use the items they know in a sentence, and of course they're going to create their own sentence. So this is communication. Doesn't really require only dialogues. So here, internet, network, all domains and use. It may be difficult, I know, but you just have to guide your pupils. For example, they say the internet is a network which we use in all domains. Number 2, Thomas Edison, lamp inventor, invent. So this is not reordering. They're going to introduce some words in order to make a good sentence. So here, Thomas Edison, lamp, inventor, invent. So they're going to say, Thomas Edison is an inventor who invented the lamp. So here I'm going to check their understanding of the rule in a communicative task. Means to which point they're able to perform something based on their creativity. Of course, not really 100% creativity, but they just have to solve a problem in a way. They have some words and they need to make sentences using who and which. So they're going to solve a problem. And then I move to the last activity, and here I am in the use phase, and most teachers get confused when it comes to use and practice. In practice, we have 3 activities, as I said: form-based, meaning-based, and communicative-based. But in use, we have 1 activity which should be done in order to invest their prior knowledge to produce an output. And here your pupils are going to produce. I have asked them to write sentences using who and which, and here you're just free to present the activity you want. And of course, by the end of the lesson, I am going to give my pupils some tasks. We have some tasks in the book on page 98. So just have to ask them to do it or do them at home. And of course, concerning time, I think that this lesson like it takes more than 45 minutes, so do it in 2 sessions. If you see that this is like suitable, just do it in 2 sessions or 1.5 sessions. Thank you so much, my dear followers, for watching this video. I hope it was really clear. If you have any question, don't hesitate. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.